Coming up on First at 4, as legislators prepare to head back to Frankfort for the budget session, some other newly elected state officials are taking their oaths and stepping into new roles. And are you a flood survivor who feels forgotten? One local organization is reminding folks that there is still help available and explaining how it wants to help.
Plus, we are tracking some cold weather as we start the new year. Your forecast on the way as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon. I'm Olivia Calfee. First at 4, lawmakers return from holiday break this month with a list of New Year's resolutions to tackle. Migration at the southern border appears to have reached a new record. Ukraine and Israel are desperate for funding, and another government shutdown could be looming, as Amy Kiley reports.
The U.S. is ringing in the new year with migration and funding concerns threatening to explode.
When you're talking about 10% of the budget to allocate for cities on this, that's unsustainable.
Preliminary government numbers show record migration at the southern border in December. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says his state can't handle the surge, so he's sending migrants north.
They're being told that they are in the city of Chicago, literally dropped off in the middle of nowhere. I find that to be inhumane and unconscionable.
Likely, we will see more people die as a result of the inability of governments to really address the humanitarian needs.
In Congress, both parties say they want to address the border crisis, but Republicans say it has to come first. That leaves Ukraine and Israel desperate for aid as they grapple with new casualties and destruction, some just hours into the new year.
I cannot come back to South Carolina and talk about giving aid to Ukraine and Israel if the border is still broken.
And that's not the only budgetary battle awaiting lawmakers after the holiday recess. The federal government is running on stopgap funding. Without a deal, it could shut down in about a month. I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
State lawmakers will head back to Frankfort tomorrow. Tuesday will mark the beginning of the legislative budget session. Top priorities for this year's budget are expected to include education and addressing problems like the opioid epidemic. Other bills are expected to be geared towards lowering Kentucky's income tax to zero, like Tennessee, and preventing suicide among veterans. Two of the newly elected statewide officers from Garrett County were sworn in today. The small rural Kentucky county is the home to both Mark Metcalf and Jonathan Schell. Metcalf and Schell were both sworn into office during a special ceremony this morning at the Garrett County Courthouse. People from all over the community, as well as those from throughout the state, came out to see the short ceremony.
I am grateful to every one of you for being here. I intend to fulfill my oath just as the judge read it and to serve with fidelity throughout my term in office.
And every day whenever I put my feet on the floor, that's what I'm going to be, is representing you all and working hard on your behalf.
Both Metcalf and Schell say they look forward to making sure the interests of rural Kentucky are well represented. A new year means new state laws across the country. One California law now requires major retailers to have gender-neutral toy aisles. The legislation was signed into law in 2021 and it went into effect today. It applies to retailers that have a physical store in the state that sells child care items or toys and at least 500 employees. Stores that don't comply with the law could face a $250 fine for the first violation and up to $500 for any subsequent violations. The free application for federal student aid, better known as FAFSA, is now open. The FAFSA is one of the main ways future students can qualify for help paying for college. New this year, the Department of Education rolled out changes to make the process simpler. Some families may now only have to answer 18 questions compared to more than 100 last year. Eligibility for Pell Grants, which students don't have to pay back, has also changed. You can learn more at studentaid.gov.
Well, Happy New Year. We are tracking some cold weather to kick off 2024. Also, a few snowflakes in some areas this afternoon. Here's a live look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler, zooming into a few snow flurries in Lawrence County, not too far away from Louisa, and this is pushing off to the south. So if this holds together, a First Alert for Johnson, also Martin counties, possibly a few snowflakes as we go over the next few minutes there. Here's a live look from Lawrence County, courtesy of the Kentucky Mesonet. You can see we are cloudy and possibly a few snowflakes as those snow flurries move through. Also tracking a few snowflakes in Esso County, also Powell County, and possibly some not too far away from Jackson and Breathitt County as well. So a small chance of a few flurries or a few raindrops as we go into this evening. The big story, those temperatures are cold on this first day of January. Most of us in the middle to lower 30s, down to 32 for Clintonwood, 33 in Pikeville, 36 over in Somerset, 34 in London. At this hour, that cold weather also continues into this evening and tonight, and low temperatures are back in the upper 20s and lower 30s as you wake up on Tuesday. Again, a small chance of a passing sprinkle, but higher rain chances are looming by this weekend. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Olivia?
All right, thank you, Cameron. Nearly 18 months after the July 2022 flood, communities are still working to recover. Several organizations are still helping community members through recovery. Just last week, we told you about a flood survivor who just received a camper after spending months in different conditions, including a tent. Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky incoming Chief Executive Officer Kristen Collins says showing they care matters to those impacted.
People are finding comfort in the fact that they've not been forgotten. And that is one of the things about the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky. We are here. We were here before the flood. We were here during the flood, and we will be here after the flood.
The Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky has awarded more than $1 million in flood relief. Collins says they plan to continue working with other organizations in the area to help with recovery. With the new year comes a renewed energy for many people, and for a group of hikers in Floyd County, that energy was used for an early morning trek through the Jenny Wiley trails. WYMT's Buddy Forbes dropped by the Prestonsburg Park for the first hike of the new year.
Outdoor enthusiasts from all around are hoping to start 2024 off on the right foot, celebrating the first day of the new year with the first hike on the old trails. Approximately 20 hikers took a trip through the trails of Jenny Wiley State Resort Park, with people and paws hitting the leaves and taking on the icy weather to kick off the new year with wellness and wilderness in mind. Some hikers say they made the journey from counties away, starting this year with fresh air and a focused attitude.
Oh, the first hike of the new year is always kind of cool to go out and be outside, especially with the snow. I love it when the snow's falling.
Those I spoke with say there is something beautiful about pairing the fresh start of the new year with the fresh smell of the outdoors, especially when they can do it right here in the mountains. In Prestonsburg, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, thank you, Buddy. The group hike is one of many guided events in state parks across the nation today. Hear more about the event and what it signifies coming up at 6. And coming up on First at 4, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake rocked Japan this morning. But the danger did not end with the shaking. We take a look at what happened.
Plus, we are mainly dry in the short term, but changes are possible by this weekend. Those details coming up.